Plan Commission meeting to order for the Village of Tinley Park. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Dan, if you can take a roll call.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Present.
Commissioner Gatto.
Present.
Commissioner Lasciuto.
Present.
Commissioner Manny.
Present.
Commissioner Shaw. Commissioner Truxell.
Present.
Commissioner Merrick. And Chairman Gray.
Present. Okay, we have a quorum present. Dan, are there any communications from staff at this time?
No, there's not.
Okay. Move on to approval of the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 6, 2022 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gatto, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor of approving the January 6, 2022 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. We'll move on to the first and only item on the agenda, which is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Richard Mommsen, on behalf of Daily Mommsen Enterprises, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, a special use for a planned unit development for Tinley Downs Plaza, located at 7901 to 7951 171st Street, Tinley Park. The granting of this request will allow for the site modifications and the allowance use of a drive-through restaurant in the existing outlot building. Site plan and architectural approvals are also requested as part of the redevelopment. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make your motion.
Okay.
Second.
So, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Lasciuto. All those in favor of opening the public hearing say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. I have received certification of the public hearing notice being published in the local newspaper. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in to speak, but after the staff's presentation. So Dan, if you could begin with your presentation at this time.
Thanks, Chairman. And I'll just note Commissioner Merrick entered at 7:01 since he wasn't present originally for the roll call. Thank you, and just kind of noting that there wasn't any public comments on this previously submitted, and that there's no one here from the public either to speak on this matter. The majority of this was kind of gone over at the last workshop, so I'm not going to repeat the background on this. I'll just kind of hit the main points and then kind of some of the main issues that had come out of that. So here's kind of what we're working towards for a Dunkin' Donuts. They're moving from an inline tenant space in the Tinley Downs Plaza, and they're looking to move to an existing outlot building, essentially punching a hole to have a drive-through go through the building. Again, Tinley Downs Plaza, won't go through the history on it, but developed in 1990 and is unique that it kind of has an outlot building within this zoning district in this area compared to many other kind of neighborhood shopping centers. The zoning is B1, and as they were looking to go and add a drive-through on this facility, typically restaurant drive-throughs would not be permitted in the B1 zoning district. And while we try and be flexible with the neighborhood shopping centers, because some of those are the ones that are struggling, we try and find unique ways to reutilize them. Adding auto-oriented uses is something that hasn't really come up and not really something that kind of fits within that zoning district. So it is kind of unique here that they have a building that's not really adjacent to, it doesn't back up right to the single family homes, and it's kind of out by the roadway. So kind of a unique way that that works here. To have them get the drive-through permitted here, what they're doing is requesting a planned unit development, basically be placed over the existing property that would allow for that. We're also covering some kind of existing conditions out there. So there's a number of existing ones, and I won't go through those because they're kind of already out there on the site. But the two things that they are kind of requesting with this PUD is to allow for the drive-through restaurant, and that'll only be allowed in that outlet building. So it won't be allowed in the inline tenant spaces. And it's based on the plans you're approving today. And then they're just due to the changes to the site, they're reducing the parking a little bit further from where it was at before. So that's another kind of new exception that's changing with this request. There wasn't too many concerns at the workshop, I think, with the overall use or this PUD and the zoning that they were kind of pursuing here in general. The kind of largest change is obviously the site plan, and that's where we spent most of our time at the workshop. So just kind of reviewing how the circulation worked through the site. And again, there was quite a few renditions, quite a bit of work here to try and come up with the best solution that would basically have enough stacking for the drive-through. And then if it's a really busy day and they have dollar coffees or dollar Dunkachinos and it gets really crazy and there's stacking beyond the drive-through, we really wanted to make sure that happened within the site. And it didn't kind of spill out into any roadways, neighboring properties, things like that. So that's kind of how this design came about here, and just to avoid conflict situations where you have vehicles coming from multiple directions entering that drive-through. So we try to avoid that as much as possible too. The one thing that kind of came out, one of the big things that had come out of the discussion, and I think it was originally Commissioner Manny had brought up kind of the walkway that went next to the drive-through and kind of the blind spot that was there. So with the new plans, they did add a railing there. It would be a decorative railing that kind of just an aluminum, kind of nice black decorative railing that blends in with the landscaping and just kind of avoids that situation there and has people then walk kind of the designated walkway out. Where there's a little bit more visibility. So that was revised on the plans. The circulation, there wasn't too many concerns with this, but we did obviously kind of walk through that as the biggest overall change to the site. There's added end islands, and overall circulation here should actually operate better in this center. Having the light poles within kind of end island enclosures and having those actually in shopping centers kind of helps direct vehicles to actually use circulation patterns, not cut through the parking lot. Also makes it look a lot better since you get some trees and landscaping in there as well. Parking, there wasn't too many concerns with this, but there is obviously a reduction in parking that's happening here. Previously, it was below the code requirements. I think it's been well stated over the years that our zoning code really probably overdoes it with most parking requirements. But it gives us some kind of guide of, okay, if that's too much, where are they at? And so they completed a parking study, though, to kind of go through what their proposal is, really make sure that they're going to have enough parking out there for the proposed Dunkin', as well as whatever is kind of going to backfill their existing space, and then the existing tenants that are out there. So if you've been out there, there's parking available, there's plenty. It's not a giant sea of asphalt parking lot, but that's also not what we want to see either, is just unlimited parking and asphalt that's unused. So I think this will be a good compromise there. There should be enough parking, but it will be up to obviously the property owner to make sure he's got the right tenant mix that works for parking, and that goes for any multi-tenant shopping center. Landscaping, they've added some landscaping. It's primarily here around where they're changing, so adding it to the end islands, adding it around the drive-through, and the goal there is really to kind of deflect any headlight glare that's going to come from the drive-through or to it, and vice versa, and then kind of just beautify the site a little bit around that. Architecture is kind of the biggest change that's happening here. There's no change to the south architecture that you guys saw in the workshop. The west is the same as well, but coming out of the workshop, we kind of had talked about there was doors on the east side, so they backfilled those kind of just with some basically glass paneling systems that'll be in there, so there won't be doors on that east side. They're gonna try and blend that into the existing windows that are out there. It will still allow in the future, let's say if this breaks up into multiple tenants again, you could still put a door in there fairly easily. Something, if you guys do wish to consider it, is they could do ledge, they could continue the brick around that really low bottom where they're putting in these windows. It would require more work. They'd have to pour a foundation. But there is landscaping that kind of backs up to this as well too. So that foundational landscaping, as they maintain it, should kind of, you likely won't see much of that bottom. The other thing that had come up was they were essentially missing a door on the north side of this, so that's where they're gonna be doing their deliveries. And so that was kind of missing. They had submitted this plan here, and so this is facing 171st Street. And this is really kind of the remaining open item that we have now, because this really wasn't seen before at the workshop. Staff's preference would be to try and find some kind of glazed door that would work, even understanding there's privacy concerns and you want it kind of dark. There are existing windows there that are kind of blacked out. You can't really see through them. They're almost like mirrored over there. So if they could do something like that, that's kind of been staff's preference, is not having this large metal door that really doesn't fit with much else on the building. But we'll kind of leave it to them. There's obvious, it's usually due to security concerns, but at the same time, there's windows right next to it, so the metal door and windows right next to it don't necessarily, we just think it'd look maybe a little bit cleaner to have kind of a glazed door that would be there, so. Yeah.
Just a quick question, is that functionality for that door for customers or for?
I believe it's employees, so that's their
Okay.
back of house.
Sure.
So I think that's more for deliveries
Okay.
that would come in at night. So it's
Okay.
kind of their back delivery door that would happen there.
Okay.
So I can let the petitioner, if they have any comments or considerations on that, our preference would just likely be some kind of glazed door there. Signage-wise was resolved, so they had taken the logos off the directional signs to meet our zoning code, and then they agreed to remove the kind of two existing non-conforming and non-permitted signs that were out on 80th Avenue. So that was resolved, and that's it. So that's all I have for the staff report, and I'll give it back to you, Chairman.
Okay, thanks, Dan, for your presentation. Is there anyone from the petitioner willing to speak? And I will swear you in. Just state your name and please write it down.
Okay. Peter Paraskis, the architect on the project.
Okay, welcome back, Peter. When you're done writing, I'll have you raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you very much, staff, for going through everything. I think we covered everything rather well. The only thing we want to be able to meet with staff on is this back door. This door is a 48-inch wide door because Duncan starts getting deliveries as pallets. And we're working on one location. We're going to know soon. There's a way to treat that exterior door because if it's all glass, I know it's going to be an issue. So we're working with a manufacturer on this other project that's very similar to this, that there may be a way to disguise that door, but if we have the ability to just work with staff on it and resolve it. But we understand the sensitivity of it, but yeah. But I hate to see these glass doors get banged up. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. I'm going to ask some of our commissioners if they have any comments for discussion, beginning with Commissioner Manning.
I agree with your comments regarding that door, since that's a delivery door,
Yeah.
the chances of getting, broken are pretty high, so Me, myself, I don't think, that, having a solid door is an issue, because you do have the trees there that will kind of like hide it, you got this little open space. So, to me, it's fine. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Manning. Commissioner Gatto?
I agree with Commissioner Manning. I think maybe if the color of the door blends
Yes.
more with the brick, then maybe it'll be camouflage from the street.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an option, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Even a gray or something to
Yeah.
match the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
Okay, excellent, Commissioner Gatto. Commissioner Truxell?
Yeah, overall, it's a great design. Looking forward to seeing this go in, and I'm agreeing with the other two commissioners so far that, and with the builder, that having steel is a better idea. It'll be more stable, more sturdy, for pallets getting bumped into it or whatever. So, yeah, that's my comment.
Okay, excellent. Commissioner Gaskell?
I've got nothing else there.
Okay, Commissioner Lasciuto?
I agree with my fellow commissioners, and I do like the changes that you guys made with the plans.
Commissioner Merrick?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. I agree with what some of the comments the commissioners have already said regarding the door, and it sounds like, Peter, you guys are willing to work with staff to disguise it, whether that's a glaze or a paint. So that sounds good, and it's reasonable, especially if you got four, big pallets. You don't need it to be breaking glass right away. As in regard to that east side window that extends down where it was hiding the former doors, I have no issues with that, leaving it as a window. Staff mentioned there'll be landscaping, but I see no need to remove that, pour a foundation, and then put in brick. I think that's probably a little overkill. It still looks nice, it still looks decorative, and it'll be shrouded and screened by the plantings around it at that level. So with that said, and I commend you guys adding that railing right away, and that was a good idea from Commissioner Manny. It looks really great, and so I got nothing else to add. So with that said, if there's anybody else from the public wishing to speak, if not, we will move on. And Dan, do you want to go through the, actually, I better close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Manny, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The public hearing is closed. Dan, do you want to present some of the standards at this time?
Sure. Just as a summary, and they're in the staff report and on the screen, that the development is largely existing and previously developed. The drive-through is designed to not cause any health, safety, or traffic concerns. That the new drive-through is designed to not have any negative effects on neighboring properties or roadways. Again, it's already developed. There's existing utilities, roads, drainage. There's been measures on a traffic impact study to ensure that the drive-through has been designed to avoid any potential negative impacts. All other village requirements will be covered or met by the planned unit development, and that generally this redevelopment translates into positive economic development for the village. So that's the special use standards. Then there's standards for a planned unit development. Those don't have specific findings to them. The findings are the standards, so you'd have to find that those were all kind of met within it. The only one that is unique within that is that the planned unit development has to be a minimum of 5 acres. That's being met within the planned unit development exception, so that's being addressed within that, just as an existing site, so. And then the same with the standards for a site plan and architectural approval, which are in there to kind of help you guys, guide you within the architectural and site plan approvals, but there's no findings specific for those. So that is it for the findings.
Okay, thank you, Dan. We'll move on to motions. We have 2 motions for tonight. May I have a motion number 1 for a special use for a planned unit development?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the village board approve a special use permit, or for planned unit development, Tinley Downs Plaza, in accordance with the listed plans, findings of fact, and listed of exceptions as noted in the January 20th, 2022 staff report. To redevelop the outlet building with a drive-through on property located at 17901 to 17951 171st Street, subject to the following conditions. 1, changes in the drive-through or parking demand from what was presented requires a new traffic/drive-through analysis to be submitted and prior approval to ensure the on-site drive-through stacking and parking is sufficient.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
I heard motion made by Commissioner Gatto, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Dan, could I have a roll call?
Yeah. Commissioner Gaskell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto,
Yes.
Commissioner Lasciuto,
Yes.
Commissioner Manny,
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell,
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick,
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. At this time, I'll ask for a motion number 2, site plan and architectural approval.
I'll make a motion to grant the petitioner Richard Momsen on behalf of Daily Momsen Enterprises doing business as Dunkin' Donuts site plan and architectural approval for redevelopment of an outlot to have a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through in Tinley Downs Plaza at 7901 through 7951, 171st Street in the B1 PD Neighborhood Shopping Tinley Downs Plaza PUD zoning district in accordance with the submitted plans and 5 conditions as listed in the January 2022 staff report.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Manny, seconded by Commissioner Gatto. Dan, could I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto,
Yes.
Commissioner Lasciuto,
Yes.
Commissioner Manny,
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell,
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick,
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried, and this item will go in front of the village board. I would just want to confirm the date. It's Tuesday, February 1st, Dan?
Correct, and that'll go, I'll have to check. I'm not sure if it's going to go for just first reading or first and second. It'll be up to the board if they want to waive it. Typically, it's not for a PUD, but this one's relatively straightforward, so they may consider waiving that kind of first reading and just adopting it at that meeting. But I will let you know and follow up with you on that.
Okay, well, good luck. Thank you for your time tonight. Yep. We'll move on to the good of the order. Dan, do you have anything to present for the good of the order?
Not too much. The Holiday Inn project, which is behind Tamada Inn on North Creek Drive, I think it's North Creek, West Creek maybe, that they finished the exterior construction of that, so they have the parapet up, all 4 stories there, and they're working on the exterior materials and starting to do some work on the inside of that. So I'm excited to see Holiday Inn really wanted to keep their brand here, with the old Holiday Inn becoming even hotels. So excited to see them moving forward and completing that not too soon after the pandemic. So hopefully some other new hotels too coming in the pipeline. So the 2 Starbucks locations that have went before the Plan Commission, before there's the one on LaGrange that was the old MB Financial, and then the new one that'll be right by the new 7-Eleven. And it's the same developer that completed the 7-Eleven. So those are, the one on LaGrange has been moving forward. I think they already did their demos. They're already doing work that one should be open fairly quickly. And they're going full steam ahead on that project. The Harlem Avenue one just got their MWRD permit today, so that was kind of that's always the biggest hurdle. And so that should be starting shortly as well, and they should have their permit within the next few days. So hopefully that'll take, I constantly hear the existing Starbucks, which I don't go there, but I hear that one's as busy as could be and backs out onto Harlem. So hopefully that'll take some of the pressure off that.
Is that one on LaGrange, is that 175th in LaGrange? Or 71st?
It's 171st in LaGrange. It's
Right
by
by-
like the Tribe.
By the CVS.
And
Yeah.
CVS,
Yeah, by Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
But it's actually along LaGrange. It used to have 171st Street address, but we actually gave it a LaGrange.
Yeah,
It's the
Yeah.
former bank.
yeah, did we have this, will we have the same backup concerns like we had with Dunkin' Donuts with this one? Probably the same situation would have been, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so
traffic
that's,
study.
yeah, we've had a lot of drive-throughs and pickup windows and stuff come through here, I think over the last year
Yeah,
or
I
two.
missed that one initially, so when you just brought it up, I was like, it dawned on me where that one was, yeah.
Even the new one on Harlem, I mean, those are always the concerns, is you want to make sure there's at least enough stacking, and then,
Yep.
okay, if you go over your anticipation, where, or
Right.
what happens? Does the whole site break down? Does it pour out onto the road, or is it just stack internal, and that stinks, but it'll hopefully dissipate over a time, so. Yeah, so lots of drive-throughs. Pete's is really close as well, to getting their approvals, so I think they want to break ground in March, get going on the full site. So I think they have a strong goal and most of their permits in place. I still think they need the plat and MWRD finals, but we're getting close to those, so. One that goes really far back is the Delta Sonic projects. That kind of got put on hold due to the pandemic, as well as just kind of the economy and some other things, some other projects I think they had put ahead of that one. But they are in for a permit to do the Delta Sonic work. It's kind of a remodel of the detail area, as well as some changes to the circulation, where they have the check-in booths not being right in line with the entrance now, and some other things. It's obviously a really busy location. If you've ever been over there, it's not the best situation, but I think this will greatly improve it, so. The old Tribe space, speaking of that, we have a tenant that's lined up to take that. That has it's an existing restaurateur that'll be taking it, a little bit, say it's kind of sports bar, beer themed. But they do good food, and so hopefully they'll be in there fairly quickly, because obviously it's pretty well set for that type of a
What
use.
tribes, they just shut it down, or? 'cause it
They
always seemed
still
like it was
have their
busy.
brewery, I know, in Mokina,
Yeah.
but I mean, the first one that closed was the original location in
They had one
Lennox.
on Wolf, oh wait, on 30.
Yeah.
30 and Wolf, they were right over there,
Yeah.
strip mall.
Yeah, so that one closed, and then this one just kind of after.
Huh.
I have my own opinions, why I think. The food was kind of
It
like
went
hit or
down.
miss there,
Yeah,
but
it went
the-
downhill.
it was a nice place to have a beer and watch.
Yeah.
games,
That's,
but,
that's how I went there, yeah.
and it's a good locate, I mean, the inside's beautiful, so I think it's a good setup. They have the nice patio.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully, it took us a little bit. I think some of this was Kimberly trying to find someone who would fit well in that space. And I think originally they were looking at the downtown. This is kind of a quicker, they can get in here really quick. So like to see those spaces filled. So that's all I have for you guys.
Okay.
I seen the sign went up on the Durbin's drive-through.
Yes. The speaker posts they put up will come down. So, but they are, if they're not open, they will be soon. But I don't know if they've officially opened yet, or it's just kind of a soft opening. But yes, they are close.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to receiving comments from the public, seeing no public here. Move to the last, adjourning the meeting. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
Make your motion. Second.
Okay, a motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Lasciuto. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. The meeting is adjourned at 7:30 PM. Good night, everybody.